Outrageous reports last night linking Newcastle United star striker with Saudi Arabian club Al Hilal. We're going to talk about that in today's video as well. Sean Longstaff has officially left the club for Leeds. Some heartwarming posts on social media for him this morning. Reports are that Newcastle are closing in on personal terms with Brentford's Wizard, but I still think the price point from Brentford will be a problem. And are Newcastle about to miss out on another of our top targets this summer? Yes, guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It's match day. Newcastle taking on Celtic at 3 o'clock. Very early start, as I'm sure it is for a lot of Newcastle fans this morning. If you want to get your predictions for the game down in the comments, let me know. 10,000 Geordies heading over there. At the time of recording, it's looking pretty bleak outside. Hopefully the scoreline won't be the same. Looking forward to seeing Elanga in action. Looking forward to seeing the lads back on the pitch again. And hopefully, you know, as I say, some positive stuff to talk about this early Saturday morning. But it has been a little bit of a cloud over our heads for the last few days following kind of what was a pretty mental week, and then coming into the back end of Eddie Howe not sounding overly pleased in his interview. And we'll get into some of the other reports. But be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you are enjoying the daily updates, loads of videos flying around at the moment, and yeah, enjoying them for the most part. And as I say, there is some positive stuff in here, so why not jump into that first? And it is Newcastle targeting Brentford striker Wizard. That's right, reports are that following the Ekitike stuff and everything else, that he is a target Newcastle are going for. David Ornstein has reported that Newcastle are in talks and they reckon that we are just about there on personal terms with the player, which is pretty good. I mean, generally speaking, I don't think there would ever be too much to worry about there. Newcastle are going to offer the guy Champions League football, presumably a decent little payday for what is a peak in his career right now, scoring goals for Brentford, playing really well. The trouble with it is, in all of this, is the price tag. Brentford's still wanting for as much as 50 million, and Buemo's looking to go to Manchester United for 70 million. Are they going to really let go of their manager and their two top players and their captain, because he left as well, in the same window? I struggle with it. The only thing that I'm giving Newcastle props for is that he's got 1 year left on his deal. So look, Brentford can say they want 50 million, which they're in their right to. Maybe it's like a bit of making a point. We're not just going to sell everyone. We're going to hold on to them, and we're going to lose 50 million. Or maybe they're hoping that if it's not Newcastle, somebody else can come in and pay it. The problem with these kind of deals is Brentford are going to hang on for dear life until the end of August, and then we'll be at the end of August still without a striker. So that's the big question. Fair enough, personal terms are getting close or in talks or agreed. Various reports coming out on the player side. In terms of the money that we're having to put up front to Brentford is too high. 20, 25, even 30 million, I would be at a point now where, after what we're going to discuss in a second and what's gone on this last week, just go for it. Get him in, get him to Celtic. Give him a ring this morning. Wizard, can you grab a flight? Private helicopter, get him up there. Let's get him in the squad. Let's get him to Singapore. Let's do all that good stuff. I just don't think Brentford are going to budge. I think they've forced Manchester United in going up to 70 million for Buemo, which, is like 20, 30 more than what they hope to pay. They're paying an extra 200 grand a week in wages for him because they've all played a really blinder, really. Well done, Brentford. They've played an absolute blinder on that one. They've forced Man United to pay way more than they should have, and they're going to want to do the same with us as well. And that's the question. I think if we have the bottle to hold on till the end of the summer, it's possible they'll look at it and go, like, we don't want to sell him, but if we don't, you can talk to clubs for free in January. Newcastle can give him a ring in 4 months' time and get him to sign a contract that he'll join us at the end of next season for no money. So it is a real difficult one. Let me know your thoughts in the comments on Wizard. Is he a player you would like to sign? Do you still think striker is the priority position? If it is, drop a like on this video, and we'll talk about another striker who's in the news as of last night, Alexander Isak. Yeah, I'm gonna laugh because you have to, whether you think it's right, true, false, or indifferent. The only reaction is to laugh at this one, and it is Alexander Isak and Saudi Arabia. So, the first joke is that Alexander Isak would do that, really, at his point in his career, when he's got the golden path laid in front of him to do whatever he wants, can probably play for just about anybody he wants, probably get paid about just whatever he wants from Premier League sides, never mind going to Saudi Arabia. And then the kicker, this is a really interesting one, because I have seen this, lots of Liverpool fans saying this, that the Saudi Arabian team interested is Al Hilal. And by the way, this isn't just, some bloke on Twitter. Like, you've got Sky Sports reporters. It's not breaking news headlines on Sky Sports TV that I've seen, but it is Sky Sports reporters, as well as various other outlets, reporting this. So it has some credibility. It's not just some bloke who just spouted it off. Like, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. Obviously, any team in the world's interested in Alexander Isak. So anyone can get in an ear of a reporter and go, oh yeah, we're going to try and talk to him. So, there is a little bit of that as well. What Liverpool fans are jumping on, PIF are going to buy him. So Al Hilal is owned by the Newcastle owners. This is one of the Saudi teams that is owned by our owners. And they're going, well, they're going to sell him for 200 million and then they're going to loan him back. And look, if that was true, and that's our way of giving Newcastle 200 million, giving Alexander, because Alexander Isak wants his payday. That's one of the big things about him not being able to sign a new deal, and because Newcastle, because we're kind of in that spot. Go to Saudi, give him 300 grand a week, and then loan him back, and then we'll have a more season. So we get 200 million, Alexander Isak with no wages, perfect. Really? I just can't see it happening. Would the Premier League allow, bearing in mind, we are not part of that, that group that can kind of do whatever the hell they want. We are just doing what we can. Are they going to really allow us to sell a player to our own owner and then loan him back? And then even if the Premier League let it happen, it's just not what we've seen so far. It's not what we've seen since the PIF came in, bought Newcastle United. We've had this talk a million times. How many players have Al Hilal bought? You talk about who was it? Was it Ruben Neves, the Wolves player? Newcastle were massively linked to him, and then PIF bought him for Saudi Arabia, and everyone's going, ooh. No, we didn't, and we still haven't. We've been going for 5 years now in this ownership. They've bought loads of players. They aren't loading us a single one yet. So I don't know why all of a sudden the Isak one would be any different. So I have to say it's noise where it's just not needed right now from us. We've had enough going on with the Liverpool links. Really, do we need our own owners to be linking to our striker? That isn't what you want to wake up to in the morning. But for me, let's get real. It's not happening. He's not. In what world would he legitimately go to Saudi Arabia? I really can't see it happening. So let me know your thoughts and comments on that one. But as I say, one player who has left is Sean Longstaff. And yeah, I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't think Sean Longstaff would ever go. I thought he would just be at Newcastle forever, whether he was getting a game or not. Eddie Howe seemed to love him. When he had his stint, when he was, I guess, under Rafa Benitez, played some really good football. He was a really big part of the Newcastle side who kind of saved us from relegation, then was a big part of the push to the Champions League, got his goal against PSG, won his cup, and I just thought, you know what, you'll probably sign a new 5-year deal. And probably not a lot of wages, and again, there is nothing wrong with having a player who doesn't play all the time. Sometimes it's good to have players who are happy to be a squad player, because if you've got 25 players, Man City do it well. 25 players who are chomping at the bit to be on the pitch, and somehow Pep somewhat keeps them all happy. I thought Longstaff was maybe one of those who was happy to kind of be involved, but you have to say his game time has reduced hugely since the introduction of Tonali. I would go ahead and say that Miley's ahead of him now. And I would still argue that I would like to see us sign a new centre midfielder. So with 1 year left on his deal, reports are that, Longstaff was the one who, because he could have. I think, as much as Longstaff isn't like upper echelon of player, I still think he could have waited a year and then probably got a pretty good payday from someone. I don't know how much he's getting paid at Leeds, like 30, 40 grand a week, maybe less. I honestly don't know. But they've paid 12 million. Sean Longstaff could have waited a year and then gone, chuck me 7. I'll save you 5 million. Chuck me 7. Chuck me 2 million. It's still outrageous. He could have done that in a year, but the reports are that, I think he's saying he wanted to help the club out with PSR, which, if that's like a genuine line out of Sean Longstaff's mouth, then take an absolute bow, champion lad. But I think it's because he wanted to go play some football, which I absolutely love, absolutely respect. I think the Leeds away kit looks class. So yeah, get him in that shirt. Well done, Longstaff. Emotional goodbyes on social media this morning. A bit of an emotional one from the club as well, playing some old videos of him in a black and white top. And I think, as much as Sean Longstaff has had stick over the years, he's lived the absolute Geordie dream. And if he gets spotted in a pub, I don't think he'll have to buy many pints for himself ever again his whole life. So well done, Sean Longstaff. But that was actually quite a happy story. Player leaving, but it was quite happy. The reports this morning are that Newcastle are set to lose out on another top target this summer window. So let's just have a quick recap. Embuemo, Delaf, Pedro, Ekitike. This morning, reports from a few different articles are that Newcastle are set to lose out on James Trafford. Now, I appreciate the goalkeeping situation is frankly boring at this point to a lot of people because it has just gone on for far too long. I've got a little bit of news on Dimos as well, so we'll throw that in as a little bit of a mixer. But yeah, reports are that literally Trafford is sitting at home playing on the Xbox because he hasn't gone with Burnley on their pre-season because he's waiting by his phone to go to Newcastle. Like, it's literally, everyone's just sitting around waiting. I mentioned this the other day, it still made me laugh. Paul from the Tuna Review said it was like when you're going on dial-up internet and it loads 99% and then the final percent won't load and you're just like, oh, for God's sake, and you just turn it off and look, is that what's about to happen? After 99.9% loading on this Trafford deal, we're just going to turn it off. Trafford's going to turn his Xbox off. He's had enough. I'll be interested to see how Nick Pope does today in goal against Celtic. And to add, so essentially, Burnley want 50 million. Newcastle don't want to pay it. And we're all just sitting around waiting. This is very similar to the situation that I've just mentioned about Wizza. Burnley aren't in a rush. Fine, we'll just wait till the day before the season starts. If you want to pay us the money, great. If you don't, we'll keep him for another year. The fact that Trafford is sitting at home and hasn't got on the pre-season shows me that even if he did kick off and make a fuss, it's not going to make a difference anyway, because Burnley don't seem fussed. I mean, they are playing the ultimate hardball here. But I agree. I agree with Newcastle. I think 40 million is too much. I don't think it's necessary. But as we've seen with a few of these, if we hesitate, if we don't just pay that extra million, we don't just pay the extra 2 million, 5 million, Wizza, fair enough, 25 million, that's a bit of a step too far. João Pedro, that was like a 5 million difference in that one, but I think he wanted to go to Chelsea. So there is other factors. There's loads going on here. You talk about this window. People are posting about Amanda Staveley on social media this morning. And I get it. We watched that programme on Prime. Oh, God, I was in it. I can't even remember what it was called now. Newcastle Behind Closed Doors. I don't know what it was called. Building a Team. Oh, that's terrible. It was on Amazon. And I was in it in Trafalgar Square. But anyway, Amanda Staveley got stuff done. Whether it was right, wrong, or indifferent, I think we probably suffered for PSR because of it. But she pushed to get things done, and that just hasn't happened this time around. But reports are that Man City are pushing for Trafford now, which is the worry, because they have the buyback clause. They can get him at a reduced fee. And I just think it's going to be another tough one for us to push over the line if we aren't going to meet their valuation. And Man City don't have to meet the valuation. They can go less because they have the buyback clause. So technically, they would be losing out on their own money if they bought their own player because they would get a percentage of what Newcastle paid. But it's just another player that's being linked somewhere else this morning. But there you go. Thank you for watching, guys. As always, drop a like and subscribe. Thoughts and comments on Longstaff leaving, the Isak stuff? Surely not. Really? And yeah, James Trafford. I know it's another one that's just kind of in the air and behind closed doors, but it's just one that seemed to be so ready and raring to go ahead of pre-season, ahead of Celtic today, ahead of the summer trip. And he's sat at home playing on the computer because we haven't been able to sort it out. Vlachodimos has reportedly been offered a move to Pumas, Mexican club. Didn't want to go. Doesn't want to go there. So Vlachodimos is probably sat at home playing on his Xbox as well. Right, guys. Thanks for watching as always. Drop a like and subscribe. As I say, enjoy today. Enjoy the game. Fingers crossed it's a pre-season win for the Toon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.